In our birth chart, the Black Moon Lilith represents the qualities and traits within us that we feel the most ashamed of. At some point in childhood, we embraced these because they were some of our greatest gifts and talents, but we were taught somewhere along the way that we are not supposed to embrace these things, or else they will lead to us being abandoned or betrayed or thrown out from the world. So now we repress them. But that is heavily indicated by the sign your Lilith is in. Whereas you also have a house that your Lilith is in. And this represents where this shame will show up the most for you in your life. So in this video, I'm going to cover everything you need to know about having your Black Moon Lilith in your 9th house. Hello and welcome back to the Be the Hero channel. My name is Isabelle and I help you understand who you are using personality typing and astrology. I was the person who did not really know who they were and I lacked a sense of self or direction in my life. And then I discovered the Enneagram, the Myers-Briggs, my astrology, and so much more. And I had a sense of who I could be and what my deepest desires were. So now I'm here to help you understand these things so you can understand yourself as well and enjoy the process. Now, before I dive into the 9th house Lilith, hit the link in the description below to get your very own My Horoscope Made Me Do It hoodie. If you love astrology, you need to have one of these hoodies so that you and I can be matching. Oh my God, we're so cute, twinning. In this video covering the 9th house Lilith, I first want to break down what Lilith is, because when I first started learning about Lilith, I was extremely confused about, is it Black Moon Lilith? Is it Lilith? Are these the same? Are they different? I keep seeing both. So to cut to the conclusion, you're watching the right video, you're watching about the right aspect that you're looking to learn about, very likely. The Black Moon Lilith is a very popular aspect nowadays in our birth chart. It is represented by a black crescent moon with a cross connected to it underneath, to summarize what it looks like. The Black Moon Lilith in our birth chart represents the traits and qualities within us that we feel the most ashamed of. But they're not just the things we feel most ashamed of. Some background on Lilith to understand this better. From my understanding, Lilith was the first wife or partner of Adam, and she was a very powerful and independent woman, someone who had a lot of gifts and talents. But she wasn't necessarily the most passive person to work with. And so what did they do? They threw her out of the world because she was just too powerful for everyone, for Adam specifically, and they replaced her with a much more passive Eve. So Lilith represents in our birth chart these qualities within us, these traits, these talents that are truly gifts and our greatest powers. But at some point in our childhood, we felt that these are threatening to our security, and so now we repress them and feel ashamed of them. But this is heavily indicated based off of the sign your Lilith is in. So there's a sign and a house that your Lilith is in. And the way I differentiate these two is the sign shows the traits and the energies and the qualities you feel ashamed of, whereas the house is about where in your life this shows up. There are 12 houses in astrology, and these represent the 12 areas of our lives. So that's all off of the Black Moon Lilith. And because the Black Moon Lilith has become so popular in modern day astrology, it often just gets referred to as Lilith because, Black Moon Lilith is a mouthful to say. There's also a less popular aspect in our chart called simply just Lilith. However, I've rarely heard about this aspect talked about in isolation, and it's not as popular. So chances are, if you're looking for information on Lilith, you're likely looking for the Black Moon Lilith. And you can confirm this by looking at your chart and looking for that black crescent moon and that with the cross underneath it, and that represents the Black Moon Lilith in your chart. So what is the 9th house? The 9th house is one that can be somewhat complicated to explain because it's often associated with a complicated string of words. Usually it starts with learning that shapes the identity. And then we go travel, and that sounds okay, just a little unrelated. Those are just two things. Then it's philosophy, then it's religion, then it's spirituality, then it's all these other things, blah, 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 foreigners. So what does the 9th house really represent? One thing that helps me understand the houses so much is knowing that each house reflects one of the zodiac signs' themes. The difference is, again, houses have to do with the tangible area of our life, whereas the signs represent the energy that we embody. So this ninth house is associated with Sagittarius, and Sagittarius is the explorer. So the ninth house is the key component in our life where we travel and experience the unknown. So it's also opposite of the third house. The third house has to do with everyday, present, right here, right now. It has to do with the people we see every day, how we communicate every day, how we are aware of how we communicate every day, whereas it's the familiar. But the ninth house has to do with things that we have not experienced. So this is why it's both learning that shapes the identity in philosophy and religion, and also travel and voyage, because we can experience the unknown through the mental and the physical reality. So whenever we have a planet or sign or aspect in the ninth house, this is somewhere where we have a desire to experience the unknown, or where we find a sense of meaning in our lives. If you have a sun in your ninth house, you need to feel meaningful in what you do. So whenever we talk about the ninth house, the two key components are travel, experiencing faraway places, anything that has to do with travel, and also philosophy and meaning, learning. Any sort of information that builds your beliefs, which then cultivates who you are. The third house is about observing things neutrally. It's just all information, data. I'm just here to exist. Whereas the ninth house is where we learn and say, how does this affect me as a person? How does this change who I am? How does this change how I interact with the world? So what does it mean to have your Lilith in your ninth house? People with a ninth house Lilith were likely, in childhood, someone who was very curious. They loved to learn. They loved to explore. They were a free spirit in some way or another. You might have been someone who enjoyed travel or liked to travel a lot in your younger years. You liked to roam and just go experience life. You didn't want to be tied to one place. You sought out novelty. And again, the learning aspect, you were probably someone who was very curious about learning, maybe even about philosophy itself. But you were generally someone who wanted to learn and question. But somewhere along the way, you were taught that to be curious, to enjoy learning, and your approach to learning, and to explore is wrong. And so now you repress this side of yourself. You have a natural gift of curiosity. You have a natural gift to try to seek out meaning in what you do. You want to feel meaningful in some way or another, and you want to experience new things. The idea of travel, meeting people, stepping into the unknown sounds highly intriguing to you. But in childhood, you were taught by a peer, society at large, your parents, some form of authority told you it is not okay to wonder and wander. And so now you have guilt and shame associated with these things. So you now force yourself to stay in the familiar. Don't ask any out-of-the-box questions. Don't be curious. Don't question. Don't seek meaning. There's often a belief for people with a ninth house Lilith that they were raised with the belief of, this is it. Okay, you just live for the simple things. You go to your job, work your 9 to 5, talk to your neighbor. Don't ask for anything outside of the quote-unquote norm. But the thing is, the ninth house Lilith, at their core, first and foremost, is seeking meaning. The sign that your ninth house Lilith is in shows you how you can fulfill that meaning. But generally, people with the ninth house Lilith, they want to know that they're making an impact. They want to understand life to a deeper degree. Again, the ninth house has to do with philosophy, and it's not necessarily that every ninth house Lilith will be a philosopher, but there's someone who wants to feel a sense of meaning in what they do, and they can seek this through mental or physical exploration. So let's break down each of these. If you're someone who errs on the side of mental exploration as a ninth house Lilith, you in childhood or in your younger years felt like you were very curious to learn, specifically about how the world works. You could have been someone who was maybe interested in science or physics because it explained literally how the world works. You could have been interested in more spiritual concepts such as frequencies and chakras because you wanted to understand how you work. You are someone who wants to understand the world because the more knowledge you possess about the world at large, the more you understand what your purpose is here. You're someone who is very interested potentially in philosophy, in understanding religion potentially. You might have been, even in childhood, someone who was very dogmatic in some way, in the sense that you held a high belief for something greater than yourself. But you're taught along the way that no, you should not believe, there's nothing bigger than you. This is it. This is just the five senses, what you can see, hear, smell, touch, blah, 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 blah. There's nothing greater. Stop having faith. Faith was something that was not welcome for you in childhood. You were supposed to just keep your nose down and focus on the little things, so to say. But you are someone who has a great sense of hope, and you are fueled by having a sense of meaning in life and by questioning why you are here. Again, the ninth house has to do with learning that shapes the identity. And so for you, you have this deep desire to learn things that will shape who you are. You want to cultivate your beliefs. You want to question your beliefs. You want something to make sure that you are living in a way that is aligned with who you are, who you want to be, and something greater than yourself. Again, though, this is Lilith, so we feel shame around this. And so ninth house Lilith feels that it's not okay for them to seek meaning, to seek purpose. In fact, it might be just self-centered to do so. So how dare you try to be greater than you are? You mean nothing is a very impactful belief in a way for the Lilith ninth house. You mean nothing and you should not care. Whereas the ninth house Lilith knows deep down that they want to matter to the world. They want to know what their purpose is here, and they want to feel that life is very meaningful. On the more physical aspect, people with the ninth house Lilith could be someone who was very much a wanderer growing up. Literally, maybe they traveled a ton, or they just liked to spend time in new places. They could have been a child who roamed a lot, who played outdoors, and they just wanted to experience new things, try new things, no matter what. And at some point they were taught it's not okay to want to experience the new. That is self-centered, that is shallow of you, and it's not important to want to experience the new. Just stay in the familiar. So they have this wanderer spirit that wants to experience newness, whether that's through a new coffee shop or just walking in the woods or traveling to another country. They want to experience the new, and they feel that they are not allowed to do so. People with a ninth house Lilith now, as an adult, are someone who knows deep down that they want to travel, explore, follow a system of faith, and learn philosophy that will shape who they are, because they seek a higher level of meaning than other people do. But they feel that they are not allowed to embrace this. And so this wonderer and wanderer spirit gets suppressed. And like I talk about in all my videos, when we don't express our Lilith in the positive, it finds a way to express itself negatively. So people, oftentimes, the positive side of ninth house traits is meaning and purpose, being the hero of your story, which, here it be the hero, we are raving fans of. But when the ninth house energy is not expressed positively, specifically in the placement of Lilith, we become martyrs of our story. We become victims of our story, which, here it be the hero, not as big of fans of. But people with the ninth house Lilith can find themselves wanting that sense of meaning, wanting to feel purposeful, chasing something new on the horizon, pursuing work or careers or love relationships, something that makes them feel meaningful, and cultivating faith in something greater than themselves. But when they don't allow themselves to embrace that because they feel ashamed of it, they will start to tell themselves a story of victimhood in how they're the martyr and they don't deserve any good. And this is the way of the ninth house energy expressing itself negatively. Again, it's really hard to explain what it means to have your Lilith in a certain house without knowing the sign it's in, because that really shows what exactly gives you a sense of meaning and purpose, what you're interested in, and how it's going to show up for you. If you are a Lilith in Capricorn in your ninth house, you really feel meaningful when you have ambitions in your life, when you have goals, when you are trying to cultivate your self-mastery and do something greater than yourself. Recognition gives you the most sense of meaning. If you are a Lilith, though, in your Cancer in your ninth house, cultivating a sense of home with other people, nurturing other people is what gives you meaning. You could do well in a career or just cultivating a family, or like I was going to say, a career that is helping other people. So it's heavily dependent on what sign your 9th house Lilith is in to know what that exactly is going to mean for you. But in each of those scenarios, this could be expressed in the negative by, let's say for the first example of Capricorn 9th house. At your best, you are self-disciplined and you work towards a goal that's greater than yourself. You are ambitious and you seek a healthy dose of recognition while also maintaining your sense of self-worth. But in the negative, this can show up as playing the victim and saying that you're never good enough, you're never going to be successful, and you must be the only star of the show, and yet everyone doesn't seem to pay attention to you. So the 9th house Lilith really has to watch for when that meaningful sense of purpose and joy for living turns into a martyrdom and becomes this mentality of, I'm never going to be good enough and I have no purpose, and that is my purpose because I am the only suffering victim. So if you're watching this, you're probably thinking, okay, thanks for telling me all about this shame. It feels great to be aware of all of my flaws. So what do? The first thing I recommend every Lilith sign and house does is reflect on childhood and think of that moment where you felt shamed for wanting to wonder and wander. Was there a time where you were curious, exploring, whether that is a mental exploration or physical? Were you questioning something? Were you hopeful and faithful? Did you feel a sense of meaning or express what makes you feel meaningful and feel rejected because of it? Was it a parent? It could have been maybe a parent. It could have been your peers. It could have been a teacher. Any form of authority could have made you feel like your survival was going to be threatened if you embrace this. Go back to that childhood memory, and it's possible that there are many, and comfort that child and tell them it is okay to be this way. It is amazing for you to be this way, and I appreciate you for your philosophical and wandering mentality. You are perfect as you are. Secondly, the 9th house Lilith needs to cultivate their experience with the unknown once again. And yes, when we learn to step into our Lilith, it is extremely uncomfortable because every warning in our brain goes, don't do this. You're going to get rejected from the world if you keep doing this. But these are some of your greatest talents and strengths. And I'll get to exactly why and what those are in a minute. But 9th house Lilith, you need to explore, both physically and mentally. So in the simplest form, book more traveling into your life. You need to go to new places you've never been before and experience the unknown, because this fuels you with a sense of meaning and curiosity unlike any other. And also cultivate your beliefs again. This could be getting more back into religion, or this could be through philosophy, learning about new concepts, spiritual concepts, getting into spirituality, or it could be going back into faith and religion. Again, the 9th house is just about having faith in something greater than yourself. So, because that provides you a sense of meaning. So, 9th house Lilith, while they should physically travel, they also just need to mentally cultivate their faith in something greater to expand. 9th house is all about expansion. It's so much about what makes us feel that we are part of something greater. So cultivate your faith and get out into the unknown more. Explore, build your beliefs, and both explore your mind and explore your physical reality. It's going to be uncomfortable at first when you start doing this. Like I said, every warning is going to go off in your brain saying, don't do this. You're going to get rejected from the world. But it's important for you to do so because, after all, Lilith is not just our place of shame. It's some of our greatest gifts and talents, and they help us leave an impact on the world, which, as a 9th house Lilith, you want to leave an impact on the world, which is why it's extremely important for you to heal this aspect. So the 9th house Lilith, you have a gift for seeking meaning in life. You have a gift for being open-minded and seeing a greater picture. You have a gift of faith and exploration. And when people see this in you, they see this faithfulness, this hopefulness, and this openness to new experience and this fearlessness to step in the unknown. They go, wow, I want to embrace that too. You inspire other people to expand their horizons and expand their meaning. Oftentimes people feel like we have no purpose here. We're just here to work our 9 to 5 and do our job, pay our bills. But you are here to inspire people and help them realize that there is something more to live for. And for each person, that will be different. Specifically for you, it'll be something unique based off of the sign that your Lilith 9th house is in. But either way, you're going to inspire them to seek that meaning, to pursue that meaning. And you can bring other people more joy just by embracing your Lilith. If this video helped you understand what it means to have your Black Moon Lilith in your 9th house, let me know in those comments below. And let me know what sign your 9th house Lilith is in those comments below, and I can tell you a little bit about what that means for you and what will give you a sense of meaning the most. So leave that comment below. While you're down there leaving that comment, be sure to grab the free birth chart workbook in the link in the description below, where I walk you through understanding the basics of your chart using journal prompts. I've personally used these journal prompts after years of reading about astrology and doing absolutely nothing with the information. These journal prompts help me learn how to apply the information of my chart and actually live in alignment with my soul's unique energetic imprint and live a life of more fulfillment. So that's the free birth chart workbook in the link in the description below. If you're someone who loves workbooks and courses, if you are interested in learning more about your astrology on a deeper level and understanding even the basics of astrology, if you're interested in self-development, you need to get the Making Mindfulness Fun bundle in the link in the description below, where right now I am offering all 30 of our workbooks and courses on these topics for only $30. That's $1 per course per workbook, and I have no idea how long I'm going to keep offering this insane deal for. So learn more about the Making Mindfulness Fun bundle in the link in the description below and get it now while you still can to access all of our astrology workbooks, all of our Enneagram workbooks and courses, our chakra healing course, and so much more. You also get access to exclusive workbooks and courses that are only available in this bundle, and you're the first to access anything new that drops. So get it now. Link is in the description below. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Sincerely hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out my video series on Lilith through the signs to learn more about healing your Lilith. Once again, my name's Isabelle, and from my heart to yours, namaste.